Live from the WCTV studios, this is Eyewitness News at noon. Coverage you can count on.
Good afternoon, everyone. A man faces charges of vehicular manslaughter after a woman drowns in the Ochlockonee River. We're learning this all happened sometime Friday night or early Saturday morning. Leon County Sheriff's Office arrested 20-year-old Jeffrey Rushing early yesterday morning after they say he drove his car into the Ochlockonee River with 20-year-old Jordan Nadeau inside. Deputies say the two had been with friends at a nightclub and then at a home on Golden Park Lane. Deputies say at one point Rushing became intoxicated and drove his car toward the river at the end of Tower Road. Nadeau was with him as a passenger. The next morning, deputies found Rushing passed out about 2 miles from the crash site. Deputies returned him to the Golden Park Lane home, and he later went back to Leon County Sheriff's Office and led them to the crash site. A tactical dive team responded and located Rushing's car and Nadeau's body in the river around 1:30 on Sunday morning. That's when Rushing was arrested and taken to jail. The investigation is still ongoing. We'll have more tonight on this story on Eyewitness News. The use of breathalyzer tests in Florida is being challenged in Orlando. We take a look behind the legal battle brewing in the courtroom.
You can interrupt me later.
It was the latest battle in a legal war over banning breath tests from the courtroom.
We call them intoxilizer wars.
On one side, defense attorneys Stuart Hyman and Jorg Jaeger.
And they haven't gotten one single result in against me and Stu on this machine since March 2006. That's 8 years.
On the other side, Will Jay and Dave Fear with the state.
We want to be able to present this information to a jury in these DUI cases.
And caught in the middle are people like Connie and Jim Russell.
I know what it's like to watch your child die because of a drunk driver.
Her son, Matthew Beard, graduated from Lake Mary High and was just about to graduate from FSU when he was killed by a drunk driver in 2006.
He was my only child. I raised him by myself. So, in the blink of an eye, I was never called mom again.
Connie can't believe breath tests are almost always banned in Orange and Osceola counties. Other county courts like Lake, Volusia, and Brevard are more likely to allow in the evidence. In Seminole County, the decision could go either way.
It makes me extremely angry because it shouldn't be happening. It's happening because some defense attorneys are deciding to play games because their job is to get their client off.
But the defense attorneys say they have evidence that shows the breath tests done by Intoxilizer 8000 cannot be trusted.
Like individuals who are registering 10 and 11 liters of air, even though a human being is not capable of providing that much air into a machine.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement admits there have been isolated problems, but says they test the devices monthly to make sure they are reliable.
Well, Connie says she worries when drunk drivers get off because they miss out on a life-saving lesson. Well, a memorial fund has been set up to help the family of a Thomasville woman who was found dying along a road last week. Jennifer Wurst Mims had severe head injuries and later died at the hospital. She was described as a loving mother and a kind-hearted woman. She leaves behind 3 sons, Andrew and Alex and Hunter. If you would like to help out, her family has set up a memorial fund in her name through Thomasville National Bank and online at GoFundMe.com under Jennifer Wurst Mims Memorial. If you'd like more information, visit WCTV.tv. 2 students at Savannah State University are suing the school after they were raped and robbed on campus last year. The twin lawsuits say the university failed to provide a safe environment for the students despite a pattern of criminal activity at the school. Investigators say the 2 girls were robbed at gunpoint and raped in early December 2013 at the University Commons. Tori Scott has been indicted for the charges and is currently in jail awaiting trial.
But he was one of the most dangerous ones that could be easily prevented had they just employed the security that they had in place. You can see this man on video. You can see him scaling the security fence. You can see him stalking the premises for 15 minutes before he picks his first victim.
The claims also said the many security failures at the school could have prevented this attack from happening, and that no one was watching the security cameras when this occurred. Well, a Naples man is pleading guilty to running an investment fraud scheme in which more than 100 investors lost over $11 million. Blaine Davis pleaded guilty last week to a charge of conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud. He'll be sentenced in October, faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. He'll also be required to pay $11.8 million in restitution to his investors. Davis was director of trading for Capital Blue Management, which offered investment services to investors. He's agreeing to cooperate in the ongoing investigation. After a gangbusters jobs growth in June, the hiring slowed to a less impressive pace in July. The U.S. economy added 209,000 jobs in July. That's down from 298,000 in June. The unemployment rate rose for the first time since February to 6.2%. That's nationally, up from 6.1% in June. The national average for the price of gas is now $3.49 a gallon, according to GasBuddy.com. That's the lowest level for the month of August in 4 years, and down about 15 cents from July the 4th highs this year. Drivers can thank increased oil production in the United States. After a weekend without water, life is getting back to normal in Toledo, Ohio. The water there was contaminated with a toxin, but this morning testing showed it is once again safe to drink.
Toledo Mayor D. Michael Collins lifted a do not drink order and raised a glass himself for nearly 500,000 residents in Ohio and Michigan.
We are lifting, in conjunction with the Ohio EPA, the no drink advisory. Our water is safe.
With the ban now lifted, city officials are urging residents who haven't been able to drink tap water, wash dishes, or even brush their teeth since early Saturday to drain their pipes for a few minutes before use.
Do not flush unless you've not used your water since Friday, okay?
Health officials declared the water supply off limits Saturday after dangerous levels of a toxin, possibly from a massive algae bloom, was detected in Lake Erie last week. If ingested, the toxin could have caused nausea, rashes, and even damaged the liver. The ban impacted 3 counties in Ohio and 1 in Michigan that received their water from Toledo Supply. People scrambled to get water for themselves and their families over the weekend, flocking to water distribution sites and stores. Some even drove for miles to purchase water.
I have 4 members in the house here, my wife, my mother-in-law, my niece, and they need water. You have to do what you have to do and make sure water is provided.
City officials are urging residents to avoid watering lawns and washing cars for now to keep the system from being overstressed. Craig Boswell, CBS News.
Closer to home, it seems some South Georgia residents are experiencing a water problem of their own. Hold off on watering that lawn is what officials are asking folks in parts of Lowndes County to do. They say a piece of equipment failed last week, causing the water level in an elevated tank to drop very low. The equipment was quickly repaired, but water pressure dropped. Officials are asking customers in some areas to hold off watering their lawns until Thursday. The neighborhoods of Stone Creek, Nelson Hills, Foxborough, Grove Point, Wiregrass, and Smith and Northview are included. This will give the tank a chance to fill up again. Well, a U.S. Marine locked in a Mexico prison may see freedom ring, but first we'll have that story for you. And a huge mudslide in California isolates thousands from the outside world. We'll take you there. First, Rob, what's going on in our forecast?
Well, we're getting a little warm, getting a little bit muggy, going to be that way this afternoon, and won't be too long till we start to see a few more scattered showers, find a few more of our land areas. Right now on the Wide View Live Megawatt Doppler radar, most of the activity is out south offshore, but a couple of little lightning bolts trying to move across some of our western fringe areas, and I do think as we go into the afternoon, we're going to cook up a few more scattered showers. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about a hurricane named Bertha in just a few minutes.